Alright, so in my last video about Classroom of the Elite, I mentioned that there are so many things in the anime that are different to the light novel that going through them deserves its own video. But looking back on it, while that's still true, I don't want to do just one video. I don't even want to cover a whole season in one video because even that could end up being nearly an hour long. At the same time, I don't want to go episode by episode because I can't fully talk about what I want to talk about without spoiling what's to come. I mean, I can, but that would mean forcing out cliffhangers for moments in the story when light novel readers like myself already knows what's up. So I went for the next best idea that wouldn't cripple me with such a workload. That is going through season 3 of Classroom of the Elite by corresponding volumes, which largely works out to 2 or 3 episodes per video. Key differences aside, I'll essentially be adding more context to certain scenes as well. Most of them stem from the narration of Ayanokoji or any other rare moments the light novel shifts the perspective to someone else. Any other points will be on the changes that the studio decided on, which may or may not seem odd. I'm only gonna skim over the plot points though. While the plot references may be noteworthy to some, others probably won't care all that much altogether. Also, I want to try and avoid making a list of points or complaints that add up to an extra 10 episodes worth of runtime if Studio Lurch actually catered to them. Most of us already know that a lot of stuff had to be left out to fit the 13 episode runtime. I'd only be preaching to the choir at that point. And I also got to make sure that these vids can be uploaded in a somewhat timely fashion. No point uploading 30-minute videos about episodes that aired 2 months ago. No one cares at that point. However, if you disagree with what I've just said, make your voice known in the comment section below, where I might consider doing more vids on the series. For now, I've only got plans to do videos on this season airing now. So here it is, Classroom of the Elite Season 3 Episode 1 and 2 review with the light novel comparison, or key moments with light novel context. I don't know, I haven't thought of a good enough title at this point. These 2 episodes are based on Volume 8. If I'm being honest, the changes from the source material couldn't be helped with the way Studio Lurch carried out the final episodes of the second season. Therefore, you'll be hearing a lot of reference from that section of the story in this video. At the same time, I can't support the studio with all the creative liberties they made. I'll try my best not to repeat that point too much throughout this video series. So, first off, Student Council President Nagumo openly challenging the Elder Horikita. In the light novel, this happens after the boys and girls were separated and the groups are formed, not before, with Fujimaki saying Tachibana's lines. This one I thought was weird initially, but then I soon realised why they made this change. They skipped over the group arrangement process, but they had to make this scene be known to viewers for the ending of the next episode to make sense. And okay, why not make the person who is going to end up being directly affected by Nagumo's actions say those lines instead of someone who we might not see again? Oh, spoilers. Not knowing the other groupings in the anime is fine, considering that in season 2 we didn't get much details about the other group arrangements for the special exam that took place on the cruise. The number of students at the school in the anime are different in the light novel to begin with, and with the exam results ending up not only changing everyone's class points tally but everyone's private points, they might as well keep that aspect blurred, especially when the first year's class rankings and points matter most to the viewers, though less so with the latter. Next point, the instructors leading the sessions for the training camp. In the light novel, you can kind of imply that they are not homeroom teachers. Only one other homeroom teacher other than Chabashira, who we know for sure was around, actually introduced themselves for Ayanokoji's group during the first morning roll call. That being Class 3B's Onodera. They said school instructors will not be the only ones leading the sessions. You could say that the studio is playing with the ambiguity created in the light novel, as it wasn't specified whether or not the school instructors that did lead sessions were in fact homeroom teachers, especially when Onodera introduced themselves as an instructor. This is me fussing about really fine details, don't mind me. However, what was definitely specified in the light novel was that the person that announced the results was not first year Class A teacher Mashima, but an elderly man who Ayanokoji has never seen before. Next point, Ayanokoji meeting Manabu in the middle of the night is true. However, in the light novel, most of the discussion was done on separate occasions, specifically in volume 7 and 7.5, or what would be in the final episodes of season 2. Manabu made a visit to Ayanokoji's dorm room to brief him about Nagumo for the first time. This was after Ayanokoji supposedly ended his partnership with Kuruizawa over the phone and when he got the Elder Horikita's phone number. The next time they met was in the winter holiday before Ayanokoji met up with Suzune, where Manabu also provided contact details of an informant, that being Vice President Kiriyama, who Ayanokoji ended up meeting along with Kuruizawa after that double date, not during the training training camp. So essentially what we got in the anime were 4 separate conversations condensed into one. Next point, Sakayanagi's declaration to Ayanokoji that she'll attack Class B is more or less the same, though in the light novel it's hinted that she's already started during Ayanokoji's talk with Kuroizawa. Also, it happened in the dining hall where they had limited amount of time to talk as Ayanokoji was wary of Nagumo's surveillance potential. Among other things, Kuroizawa mentioned that during the forming of the small group for the girls, Kamuro from Class A, who is in the same group as Sakayanagi, didn't let anyone from Class B in their group as she deemed Ichinose untrustworthy. Next point, the anime for some reason wants to make Kenji more of a freak of nature than he is in the light novel. For one, he does not jump off of a cliff face in the source material. He does, however, encounter a wild boar, though it's left up in the air whether he actually took it down. I'm not particularly mad at that change though. The thing I didn't like, however, was the way Kenji deduced that Ayanokoji is X. Aside from the sensation from Ayanokoji's trembling passion or quivering grip depending on your translation, in the light novel, Kenji then points out Ishizaki's behavior shift when interacting with Ayanokoji. To me, the change shows that anime Kenji is more crazier and less shrewd than in the light novel. Literally 2 lines and less than 10 seconds of runtime would have solved that, but oh well. Asahina and Ayanokoji getting to talk wasn't a creative liberty on its own. However, her losing her charm happened before the winter break. Specifically, moments before Ayanokoji's phone call with Kuroizawa that was after his dad's visit to the school. Asahina walked past Ayanokoji and slipped on the icy ground, most likely due to her just coming off the phone to President Nagumo. However, it was only when Ayanokoji was in the middle of the call with Kuroizawa that he noticed the charm on the ground. By that time, she was already in the second year dorms, to which he decided to hand it over to security. From what he overheard in that small time frame, he later picked up that she might not be a devoted supporter to Nagumo, unlike most second years, despite not actually thinking much of that interaction at the time. Following on from that, Asahina was one of the few people that he ordered Kei to investigate during the training camp that led to an engineered chance encounter. It's kind of a shame they made this change because some could easily scrutinize that interaction between Ayanokoji and Asahina as luck. Now, obviously the original interaction that occurred and Ayanokoji noticing the charm had luck in of itself, but I'm referring to him deducing that she's not a Nagumo stan. In the anime, it was either luck or observation that didn't get contextualized on screen. Later on in the episode, Hashimoto had a secret meeting with Ryuin that was soon interrupted by the elder Horikita and Nagumo. In the anime, Ayanokoji couldn't hear from the distance he was spying from. In the light novel, the party have this discussion at one of the exits of the building and Ayanokoji can actually hear them but from a different section. Out of respect for those who are not up to date, I won't go any further on what happened. If you've already watched episode 4, then you already know what was said. Look out for my next video covering that plot point. What I will say is that initially, as I saw the scene play out, I thought Ayanokoji was going to give us a half lie and say that yeah, he couldn't hear them but he could lip read. Someone who's got the makings of a brilliant espionage agent, I thought the studio was going to make a decent creative liberty in that sense. But no, they decided to do away with that. And that's pretty much all I've got for this section of the story. In comparison to the next arc, Ayanokoji pretty much plays a passive role apart from the intel gathering and observation in this exam. So I can understand why they condensed this part of the story into 2 episodes. Tune into my next Classroom of the Elite video where I'll be going through the next 3 episodes that cover volume 9. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, it helps these videos get seen and I'd really appreciate it. See ya!